Hey guys, welcome to Amy's Autopsy Report. My name's Amy. This video is going to be a tag video, and I believe the tag was created by Erschen and also Geek Legion of Doom. I'm going to include their names in the description box below. I heard about the video from my friend Jason over at Horrific Nightmares, and I just thought it was a really good horror question. So, the horror question is top 10 horror franchises. So this was really difficult. My dog is like right here. This was kind of difficult to do. Now Jason, when he did the tag over at Horrific Nightmares, he sort of implemented like 3 rules. Like one of his rules was the franchise had to have 3 sequels at least. And he was also not including any remakes or television shows that related to the original films. So those were his rules. I'm sort of going to adopt his rules and also add my own spin on it. I am not going to include the 4 big icons, which means in my top 10, I'm going to do 10 horror franchises that I love that do not include Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, I know some people are probably going to think that's insane, but I feel like sometimes these tag videos just get overwhelmed with the icons, and nobody ever focuses on any other, like, horror films. It's just always about Freddy, Jason, Michael, and Leatherface, and I love those films. I love all those franchises a lot, and they would be in my top 10 if I wasn't purposely excluding them. So here is my top 10 horror franchises that have 3 or more sequels. Coming in at number 10, I have Puppet Master. I really love the Puppet Master films. They're just a lot of fun. I like anything that involves like puppets, dolls, little monsters, creatures, anything like that. I love. Those are my favorite kind of horror films, to be honest. So 10 is Puppet Master. Number 9 is going to be Jaws. Jaws has obviously been a favorite of mine since I was a kid. Yeah, some of the sequels aren't as great as the original, but I still enjoy all of them for what they were, and they just had a really big impact on my movie tastes and my movie-going experiences, like, in my life. Number 8, I'm going to go with Phantasm. I love the Phantasm franchise. Even though some of the sequels are not that good, I really, really love Phantasm. And I feel like not a lot of people talk about it anymore. I don't know if it's just sort of becoming a forgotten franchise, but I love the Phantasm movies. They really creeped me out as a kid, too. So number 7 is going to be Night of the Demons. This is a favorite of mine. I love all 3 of the films. Linnea Quigley is my favorite horror scream queen of all time. So I had to include that one for sure. Yeah, Night of the Demons. Can't go wrong. Number 6 is Leprechaun. And I have always loved the Leprechaun series. I love the sequels, even though some of them are, there's a few that are pretty terrible, but I still like them. I don't know why, I just do. So Leprechaun is number 6 for me. Number 5 is Critters. I even like Critters in Space, guys. I do. I like anything with little monsters or creatures or anything like that. I'm all in when it comes to something like that. And that's going to be in the same vein as number 4, which is Ghoulies. Ghoulies is probably my favorite of all of the little like creature monster movies. There's a ton of them, and I like a lot of them, but Ghoulies is probably my favorite. Number 3 is going to be the Hatchet franchise. I love the Hatchet movies. I love all of them. I think they're all really well done. They have great practical effects, just super gory, and just, I mean, Victor Crowley is like the perfect slasher. So 3 is going to be Hatchet. Number 2 is going to be Night of the Living Dead. And when you talk about the Dead franchise, You've got Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, Land of the Dead, and Survival of the Dead. I know I said some of those out of order. I love George A. Romero. Dawn of the Dead is probably one of my favorite zombie movies of all time. That's another list I should do. I should do a list of my favorite zombie movies. But Night of the Living Dead really impacted me as a kid, and I just love Romero's films. So that's going to be number 2. And of course, you guys know what my favorite horror franchise is. Number 1, The Evil Dead. I love The Evil Dead. I love all 3 movies so much. Evil Dead is my favorite horror film of all time. And I just love them. I love them. I love, even though I'm not including the remake, I also love the remake. I also love the TV series. But those 3 films I feel like are really solid films, and that's my number 1. So I did have some honorable mentions because there are so many more I would have loved to have included. So honorable mentions, I have Creature from the Black Lagoon. There are 3 films in that series, all of which I like. Subspecies is excellent. I love those films as well. Jeepers Creepers. Part 3 is definitely the weakest of the series, but I do really love Jeepers Creepers. And last but certainly not least is Return of the Living Dead. I do really like Return of the Living Dead and all of those sequels as well, even though some of them are a little bit sketchy, but I do really like those as well. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. That's my top 10 horror franchises. I'm not going to tag anybody, but I think that a lot of people should do this tag because it's definitely an interesting question to be asked. There are so many horror franchises out there. And you don't have to leave the big 4 out as I did. You could always include Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween. You could include those in yours. That was just sort of my personal spin on it. I wanted to give a different take and kind of talk about some franchises that other people just don't seem to mention that often. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you like these videos, give me a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Instagram at Amy's Autopsy Report, and I will catch you guys in the next one.